Trader Shamer sends a super chat in saying, "What is your honest solution for progressives taking over the Democratic Party, or should we split? I'm tired of the DNC." Uh, the honest, so there is no like one solution fits all. I think it's important to have this pressure everywhere. So continue primarying out corporate Democrats within the party, especially focus on leadership positions. I know it's tougher to take out leaders, people like, Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer, but those are the people that are essentially in charge of the party and have designed it to be this corporate party. Now, even if you take out, say, Pelosi and Schumer, there's no guarantee that they won't be replaced with someone else just like them. But that's why when it comes to, the leadership of the party, you really need to focus on everybody. So, people like Steny Hoyer, Pelosi, Schumer, etc. So that's where the focus should be. At the same time, you also have to be, I think, focusing on local politics, state politics. You actually have to build a movement. It's the wrong approach to look at voting or to look at the election every 4 years as the way to enact change. That's the wrong way to look at it, because the actual work is done between elections. That's how you actually build interest, build movements. And you do that by engaging people on the ground, engaging people that aren't normally into politics, engaging apolitical people. I mean, that is so 40% of the country does not normally vote. So if you can engage that 40% and bring that energy into, say, a progressive movement, a left-wing movement, or local politics, left-wing politics, state politics, and you begin to build that interest in a larger project, that's how you actually get to the point where eventually during or at a general election, you can have a candidate that is more left-wing and viable because you've built that movement on the ground over that 4-8 years. So that's really the real energy needs to be put. It can't just happen. You can't just look every 4 years and think, oh, okay, I'm going to vote Green Party this time. Like, not everybody thinks the way you do. In fact, most people don't. Most people look at voting right now as these two options, as Democrats or Republicans. And the only way to change that is to build something over those years before the elections. Because people don't just wake up 6 months before the election and think, well, now I'm going to vote third party. It doesn't work like that. You have to actually engage people and change those minds over the course of years. It takes time. So just don't look at these elections as the only time to be engaged in politics. You have to look at it as an ongoing project, because that's what it is. Which is why, this is why I look at voting as a tool, as harm reduction. Because if you look at voting as your, all your hopes and desires into your vote, it's not a realistic way to look at voting, because that isn't how it works. No candidate is perfect. And of course, I think it's important to have some standards in terms of what you expect out of a politician. But that's why the actual work is done before the elections and during the primary. During the primary is your real choice, putting up real candidates that actually represent your interests. But when it comes to the actual general election vote, I think it's simply harm reduction. You're looking at it as a tool, as, hey, how can I, reduce harm in this situation? So in the case of Democrats versus Republicans, you look at the Iran deal, look at abortion rights. Look at climate change. Now, of course, on, some of those issues like climate change, of course, Democrats are not great either, but there is a difference there. There is a reduction of harm under Democrats compared to Republicans. And at the same time, under a potential Biden presidency, so let me start this differently. Under Barack Obama, when he won, he put a lot of people to sleep because people assumed, oh, well, we got Barack Obama now, hope and change. He's got it, he's got this done. He'll go to work for us and we don't got to think about politics anymore. Well, what ended up happening is Barack Obama completely abandoned his movement and simply listened to the people around him, people in, Wall Street, special interests. And ultimately, he's just another neoliberal. So, but he was able to convince enough people that he was the real deal with his grandiose speeches. Now, in the case of Joe Biden, I don't think has the ability to put the left to sleep because he's not inspiring. He doesn't have those speeches. Joe Biden has nothing. And you're even seeing people like Joy Reid on MSNBC be critical of Joe Biden and bring people on that are critical of Joe Biden. So if you're seeing that criticism now, you will see it when he has power. And that is an avenue for for the left to have some power. Now, I'm under no illusion that you're going to pass Medicare for all, or you're going to have, a $16 trillion Green New Deal, or free public college, like universal free public college. I'm under no illusion that's going to happen. But the point being that the left has an avenue towards criticism and power when it's under a Democratic president. Under Trump right now, what's happened? Has the left really improved under Trump? No. So, you have to understand here, yes. First of all, I want to say, if you're not voting Biden, I'm not shaming you. I don't care. I'm offering my opinion of the whole thing, as somebody who can't even vote. But the way I view the election in the U.S. So vote, don't vote, vote for Biden, stay home, or I would say don't stay home. At least vote down ballot. But the point being here, that there is, once you're able to remove yourself from the idea that you're putting your entire thoughts and feelings and desires into a vote, once you can remove that out of you and realize that voting is just a tool for harm reduction, then it becomes a lot easier, and you have this clarity of realizing that the actual fight is between the votes, is between the 4 years, is between every 4 years, and it's not that singular vote in the election. So when you realize that, it becomes you begin to understand that, this is, the actual change has to happen before the election, not at the election. And you saw, let's be honest here. You saw back in 2016, some people, even at times, I think I thought this, that, hey, if Trump wins, even though I said you should vote for Hillary back then, but I thought, at times I thought this, if Trump wins, maybe it'll really activate the left. And in 4 years, you're definitely going to have a Bernie Sanders presidency, because people will hate Donald Trump and they'll all go out and vote and become more progressive, go more left wing. Well, that didn't exactly happen. In fact, now what most voters, as we saw during the primary, most reliable voters, what they want is just a return to normalcy. And at this point, anything will do for them, which is why Joe Biden is the nominee. If you had, let's say, Marco Rubio, let's say he was president, and it was a typical Republican president, Joe Biden would not be the nominee right now. I think it's safe to say, under any other scenario, Joe Biden would not be the nominee. But the reason he was able to be the nominee this time is because people wanted something that was, in their minds, reliable, a return to normalcy. And Joe Biden, in their minds, is a direct return to normalcy because he was the vice president under Barack Obama. So you wouldn't have had that if it were Marco Rubio or John Kasich. But under Donald Trump, people, their expectations have been lowered to the point where, hey, anybody but Trump, and if they think that Biden has the best ability to defeat Donald Trump, then that's who they're going to support, because they just want to get Trump out. So it lowered everybody's standards in terms of what they expect out of a president. So the idea that, a very conservative right-wing president is going to lead to a left-wing rebellion, it's just not true. It's just not true. You have to actually build that energy between elections. That's where the actual movement is made.